Is there a more iconic sound in gaming? The Game Boy Advanced, one of the greatest handheld video game consoles that no one ever talks about. This little purple wonder was home to thousands upon thousands of legendary video games that many people these days have never tried or heard of. This generation of gaming is one of the best generations ever. The Game Boy Advance has a library full of all-time great side-scrolling video games, from platformers to adventure games to everything else. The Game Boy Advanced was truly ahead of its time. Welcome back to Certified Hood Classic, and today I would like to take you on a trip down memory lane, and I would like to take a look at some hood classics from the Game Boy Advanced. Starting off today's episode is Wario Land 4. This game is a strange oddity and one of the greatest Super Mario games that doesn't feature Super Mario. You see, the Game Boy Advance is when Nintendo truly started experimenting with a lot of its franchises, and in came the legendary Wario Land franchise. This is one of the greatest games that a lot of people haven't heard of. This game is a lot weirder and a lot different from traditional Mario games. You don't traverse the world in the same type of way that you do in traditional Mario games, where you start on a map. In Wario Land 4, you jump through portals, and you have a limited amount of time to get through the worlds. You have to complete certain objectives like gathering keys or certain items or killing certain enemies, and if you spend too long in these worlds, you'll eventually die and be erased from history. You don't have very long before Wario dies, so you have to get back to the portal with the objective completed. This game is so different in its looks and aesthetics and how it plays and handles to Mario games. Wario has so many more abilities than Mario does, like the ability to shoulder charge or throw rocks. Wario is a lot more versatile and a lot stronger than Mario is too, and his games are a lot weirder. Mario dies in 2 hits, but Wario has a full health bar. This game is a completely different flow and tone to it, and you can choose different branching pathways and explore at your own pace. If you've never tried Wario Land 4, I highly recommend it. Wario Land 4 is a hood classic, baby. Alright, let's move on. Kirby Dream Land. Man, I don't really have much experience with the Kirby games, but this one was kind of cute. I actually liked it. Kirby games are like Mario games, but a lot more floaty and a lot more atmospheric. You can swallow any enemy and take their abilities, you can fly for as long as you want, and the worlds are a lot more colorful. Everything's super vibrant, it has a much more friendly tone. I love the presentation, and I like the way you reveal the map after completing each level. It's pretty cool. This one's pretty fun, but the music is like really repetitive and it started to get on my nerves after a while. Still a hood classic. Alright, let's move on again. Metroid Fusion. Alright, now we're talking about some real games. Metroid Fusion is another Metroid game that a lot of people haven't played. The atmosphere, the vibe, the graphics, the storytelling, everything about this is so top tier for a Game Boy Advance game. I had a lot of fun in this one for the time that I played it for. You'd go through different worlds and explore different areas, collecting abilities and killing enemies, scanning the environment and exploring as the dangerous bounty hunter Samus. It's called Metroid Fusion because your DNA has been fused with that of an ex-Metroid. So Samus now is infected and she has to race against the clock to try and cure this somehow. I got lost and bored after like 5 minutes and gave up. Let's go. Still a hood classic. Mega Man Battle Network. Okay, this is like the strangest game ever. They took the legendary Mega Man formula and turned it on its head. It made Mega Man more turn-based like Pokemon. You play as a human character in the human world, and then you jack into the internet with your Mega Man character, who then has to fight bad guys in the turn-based internet world. It's pretty cool when you select different abilities and choose different cards and collect items, and I had a lot more fun than I actually expected with this one. I had no fucking clue what to expect, but this game is actually pretty good and I sort of enjoyed it. I actually can't even believe it, to be honest. Yeah, whatever, this one's a hood classic. Alright, let's move on. Sonic Advance. Sonic Advance takes the charm of the original games and turns it up to 11. Graphics for a GBA game are amazing, and it really stood out to me a lot. The game has a good speed, a nice soundtrack, and great level design for a Sonic game on a handheld device. You go through the different levels and all the different zones, and you can unlock different characters to play as. All 3 Sonic Advance games on the Game Boy Advance are hood classics. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Pac-Man Collection. Yeah, no, I'm not even kidding. It's just a collection of Pac-Man games. I mean, that's actually kind of cool. I mean, how the fuck are there so many different versions of Pac-Man? How many times can you do a yellow square eating dots and make it interesting? Oh my god, I shouldn't have asked. What the fuck? The various versions of Pac-Man are very colourful, and there are different ones with different rule sets. The original is still my favourite, but some of these other ones stood out. This one kind of just looks like an acid trip though. Can we actually just talk about how great of a game the original Pac-Man is? This game is so intense. Cut corners trying to collect all the different pellets while all the different coloured ghosts pursue you. They attack you at different times and attack you in waves. They cut off angles and chase you, and you have to collect the power pellets to try and get them back. This game is truly ahead of its time. Pac-Man and its very many weird spin-offs are all certified hood classics. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Nah, this shit is a certified hood classic. I don't give a fuck. This is not a normal Mario game in that it's an RPG. You play primarily as Mario and Luigi, and you have to battle various creatures and explore the different lands of the Mushroom Kingdom. You fight with Bowser and then team up because the princess has been captured by another evil force. The Mario and Luigi find themselves teamed up with Bowser and his many armies. You explore all different locations, you look for items, and you fight enemies in turn-based combat. This game is so cool. It's the very pinnacle of Game Boy Advance gameplay and shows the true power of the Game Boy Advanced. This game shows the true heart and character of what a Game Boy Advance game can be, and proves that not every single video game has to be a ginormous AAA big budget video game to be great. This video game and the other games that I showed you today are all examples of what happens when game companies have to use their imagination to create a video game, and takes us back to a time period when technology was a lot more primitive, and thus video games had to really try to hook you in on their concepts. These older generations of consoles are hugely slept on, and I can't wait to continue making videos like this to show certain hood classics from the video game generations of the past. This is hood classics from the Game Boy Advance.